works doing the engineering, GIS, sea-level construction, CPRA, the Corps of Engineers, and all the people on our teams that made it possible for us to do the permitting and the construction of this project. These two pump stations are going to move a ton of water. Just the one you see being built behind me is larger than the existing pump station that we have in Muntz at 267 CFS of pumping capacity. That, coupled with Muntz number 2 at 340 CFS of pumping capacity, is going to bring well over 3.5 times the capacity that we have now. And that doesn't factor in the fact that you're going to have large retention areas that are going to be able to store water when it hits the ground.
Our master drainage plan has showed us where we can do and what we can do to improve that. And this is a...
Y'all ready? Start the beat. Good evening and welcome to the Contract Finance and Administrative Committee meeting on Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the council chambers in the Parish Courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Matters before the committee. 2025-0294, discussion of the industrial tax exemption application for W.R. Grace & Company, Norco, Louisiana. Do we have the applicant present? Please identify your name and your relationship to the applicant.
Hi, I'm Kyle Robichaud, Plant Manager for W.R. Grace Norco.
Jake Nickens, Summit Credits.
Would you like to make a short presentation about your application, or would you like us to go off the record and ask you question by question?
I'll give a quick presentation.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so a little bit about W.R. Grace and Norco. So Grace has been at the site. We are located at the Shell West site within that facility. Grace purchased the shack process in 2013 and has been producing polypropylene catalyst at that site since that time frame. So what we make is a catalyst that goes to plastic manufacturers, and it helps produce the catalyst from that standpoint. So in which we make two different types. One is shack and one is consista. They're slightly different, but sold for different markets on which type of plastics are made. So in terms of the project itself, what this application is for some capital investments that we have for the site. Some key areas involve some safety aspects around our control room. And then also, if you ever drive by the site, you'll see two trailers out behind the Shell building. That is our current admin building. So the other main aspect is building a new Shell admin or a new admin building for Grace. Along with that, increasing some storage capabilities for one of our raw materials that we bring in. So that's a little bit presentation of what we are trying to do the investment on with this project. So.
And how do you consider this an expansion of your facility, the manufacturing portion?
So for the manufacturing portion, so it's an expansion in safety controls, especially around our control room, because this was a facility siting study that was done for our process, in which we're going through and looking at the control room and upgrading safety aspects from both HVAC and hardening from a blast proofing. From an admin station standpoint, we are currently in 2 double-wide trailers that are at capacity, so with multiple people doubling up. And so we want to invest in our people and our admin there to be able to house them in a better facility. And then in terms of storage, one of the raw materials that we're going after It will allow us to hold more product, which allows us to produce more with less frequent shipments. So in terms of expansion, that's how it affects the manufacturing aspects.
So you would consider this expansion to be more about efficiency and safety, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as part of our process, and this is, somewhat odd since the process is not the same in the state of Louisiana, but as part of our process in 2018, we also would ask for you to talk about your commitment to the community, as well as your involvement and the jobs being produced from this particular project.
Okay. Yeah. So in terms of community engagement, one thing that we're trying to do, we are a very small site. We have about 52 employees from a Grace standpoint. So what we've been trying to do over the last year or so is improve our community engagement and volunteering service-wise. So we participated in the bridge run this year. Sadly, that got canceled. We're helping sponsor a part of the Alligator Fest this year. Along with that, we'll be participating in the Battle for the Paddle. So that's a couple of different areas from a community engagement standpoint. It's more around the volunteering, that service areas. And then in terms of jobs, as you can see on the application, this is kind of solidifying one headcount addition since we are a pretty small site. During this project, because of that expansion, we'll be looking into more of a scheduling kind of planning role in this aspect. So it's not more on the hourly side, but more from an admin standpoint.
So you would consider that to be a salaried position?
Correct.
And talk about the construction impact and how many workers you're anticipating for this, especially the tank expansion and administrative building.
Yeah, so in terms of construction, so one of these projects is actively ongoing since the filing. And so for the control room itself, we've had 9 different subcontractors in. Most of the work began in February and wrapping up here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, in which we at one point had 45 different subcontractors on the site at one time between general construction, roofing, electrical controls, that type of aspect. For the tank project, that one will probably be a little bit smaller scope in terms of construction, mainly because it'll be in a more greenfield area on the site. So I would have to estimate 10 to 15 contractors, personnel, but one contracting group doing that job. And then for the admin building, that's going to be, we're in the initial scopings on how large in scope, depending on where it is located. That'll change how much from a contractors, et cetera, are there. But I couldn't give you an estimate on how many contracting jobs that would bring in during that time.
Okay, and finally, in order for me to kind of get all the points out, what is W.R. Grace's commitment to hiring from St. Charles Parish?
So one of the couple of things that we've been doing is along with our community outreach, we are trying to recruit more locally involvement. And so I'm involved in the community advisory panel, so working with the St. Charles Parish School Board. We are trying to do better recruiting locally. We've done some with RPCC. We've done some with Nunez College outside of St. Charles Parish. But one of the things that we're doing in the last 6 months or so is trying to recruit more. Like I said, we don't have a large headcount, so we're not seeing that much of attrition. But when we do have vacancies, we will definitely be recruiting within St. Charles Parish.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for public hearing. You can be seated.
Okay.
If anyone would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Does the council have any questions for the applicant?
Fisher does.
Oh. Councilman Fisher?
Kyle, step up for a second real quick. Appreciate it. First of all, you're fantastic. You're a great neighbor to Norco. I do see you people out there. Plant looks good. Looks better than it's ever looked before. So Your engagement is good. You never hear a bad thing about you, right? So you'll be a good fence line neighbor. You know, you get the new ball field going to be over there, so we'd like the baseballs back when they go over. So during cleanup, can you throw those balls back?
Yeah, if it makes it over the fence.
No. We appreciate you coming tonight and talking about your project. As you can see, St. Charles Parish is very, very deeply rooted with industry. And when we see this type of, commitment, this is going to be a substantial amount of money you're making. So you're not going any place. So we see the commitment, and we do appreciate that. I continue. If there's an opportunity, we can do something, help you with any growth. We have a lot of the infrastructure. I know being on the river could be something for you too. Eventually down the line, if Shell cut you loose a little bit. So, but no, again, I appreciate you being a good neighbor. Like I said, anything I've ever asked of you guys, you take care of it. So, thank you for coming tonight.
Councilman Pile.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not actually familiar with your plant or your process, but I heard you say one of your biggest drivers is the safety. Was that driven internally by your company, or is there any other industry kind of requirements that mandate a change that cause you to spend this kind of money?
No, so the biggest was we did a facility siting survey. And so it is a more common practice, but that was something that our company, Grace, has done at multiple sites in which we go and look at what is the largest blast radius from our process. And what that has done is taking the evaluations of the chemicals and whatnot that we have on site, doing that study of if something were to go wrong, what is the blast zone? And so, and what we evaluated from that study was our control room was inside that. So there's two options. You move the control room or you harden it. And so what we did from a capital process standpoint was we decided to harden the control room where it stood.
And that's perfectly understandable. I was in the offshore industry, so we had a little bit of that to deal with too. Is there any driver in the industry for the product, like a refinement of the product that causes you to do some more things to the plant? Or is this merely for your, and not merely, but is it strictly for your safety aspects?
So this is strictly for our safety aspects. So like from a process standpoint, our market is pretty good. We're not innovating too much on the product itself, but this is how do we go make it more efficiently with a little bit more volume and much safer.
Thank you.
Councilman Carmerdale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kyle, I know a lot about that plant. I actually started my career when I got off the service there, so I'm very glad to see you guys coming in to upgrade that. I've got a lot of founding members of the Dow team when we took that over from Shell.
Yep.
That's been there, and I know how that facility was. You guys have done a great job. As Councilman Fisher said, I don't think we've had a community evacuation since the diamond came down, so that's been very good on you guys' part. And I know several of the employees there, and I used to pick on them when I was still Dow about coming across the river, and we couldn't pay them enough. So, good job on everything you guys have going, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to do.
Thank you.
President Joel.
Thank you. I'm looking at the site. I got it pulled up on Google Maps here. Where at on the site is the work taking place on the control room? Is that by that tower, kind of in the center of the site?
Yes. So it's where the existing control room is. So from an aerial standpoint, there will be a distillation tower, and then it'll look like a flat, long building. And so that control room itself is what we're hardening
here. And then the new tankage?
So that'll be just south of it. You'll see there's multiple storage tanks below there, and in which we have a couple of tank pads already in existence that were old tanks removed, but that's where we're intending to put that.
The other thing I see on the site is a lot of open space.
Yes.
Are there any future plans to bring more investment into this site and maximize its potential?
So the site itself for the shack process did an expansion in the 2019 to commissioning 2022 timeframe. That expansion will cover most of this product line that we have for the next 5 to 10 years. So in terms of more capacity of that, no, but what we're going to invest in is the safety and the efficiency of the supporting structure for it.
Thanks.
Seeing no further discussion, I need a motion and a second to adjourn. And a motion. Okay, I saw a motion from Heather Skiba, Councilman Skiba, and a second from Councilperson DeBroyer. All in favor? It went and left. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank y'all.
That's all.
evening. Welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and a pledge from Father Paul Clark with Our Lady of the Holy Rosary Church in Hornville.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. O Holy Ghost, personal love and goodness in the Godhead, Thou breathest upon us in streams of the divine goodness through Thy graces and gifts. Eternal thanks be to Thee for the spiritual life Thou givest to us and preservest through the holy sacraments. Although we do not deserve Thy love nor correspond with it, Thou ceasest not to bless and sanctify us. Therefore we thank Thee with the Father and the Son, and today especially for Thy unfathomable mercy, which is above all Thy works. Praise and thanksgiving be to Thee forever. Amen. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Clark. Approval of the minutes. A motion and a second are needed to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of September 8th, 2025. We have a motion from Councilman Fisher, second from Councilman Commerdale. Please cast your votes. That passes unanimously. Special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. File number 2025-0278 in recognition, Jenna Rebecca Niecase, the 2025 Miss Alligator Festival Queen. Councilwoman Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas Jenna Rebecca Niecase is a resident of St. John Parish, residing in LaPlace, Louisiana. She is the daughter of John and Pamela Niecase and sister of Johnny Niecase, Jonathan Niecase, and Douglas Gilchrist. Whereas on Sunday, September 7, 2025, Jenna was crowned 2025 Miss Alligator Festival Queen at the Alligator Festival pageant held at the Legacy venue in Luling. And whereas Jenna will represent St. Charles Parish, the Alligator Festival, and a Rotary Club of St. Charles Parish at several fairs and festivals throughout Louisiana. Now therefore, be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do offer this tribute in recognition to Jenna Rebecca Niecase, 2025 Miss Alligator Festival Queen. So I ask that the Rotary members on the platform come down with the picture with Queen Niecase.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for having me. And I'd like to just thank the parish for welcoming me in and trusting me to represent you this year. I'd like to thank the Rotary Club for this opportunity and for hosting this wonderful festival that brings scholarships to the high schools in the area. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm really excited to have a great year with you all and work with you all and make this even bigger and keep growing the festival in the community. Looking forward to a great festival, prayers for no rain, and a great time. Thank you all.
Thank you. File number 2025-0279 in recognition, Brooklyn Bonnie Bow, 2025 Alligator Festival Queen. Councilwoman Skiba.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In recognition, whereas Brooklyn Bonnie Bow is a resident of St. James Parish, residing in Lutcher, Louisiana. She is the daughter of Neil and Devonia Cockburn and sister of Akia Davis, Bray Bow, Mackenzie Cockburn, and Carson Cockburn. And whereas on Sunday, September 7th, 2025, Brooklyn was crowned 2025 Teen Alligator Festival Queen at the Alligator Festival pageant held at the Legacy venue in Luling. And whereas Brooklyn will represent St. Charles Parish, the Alligator Festival, and the Rotary Club of St. Charles Parish at several fairs and festivals throughout Louisiana. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby offer this tribute and recognition to Brooklyn Bonnie Bow, 2025 Teen Alligator Festival Queen. And I believe Miss Brooklyn is here to accept. And if the members of the Rotary would like to.
Hello. I'd first like to say I'm so thankful to be chosen as your 2025 Teen Alligator Festival Queen. I'm so excited to not only be able to represent this festival, but also the Rotary Club. This opportunity is amazing and this organization is amazing, so thank you again. See y'all this weekend.
Thank you. File number 2025-0272 in recognition, Norco 100th year anniversary. Councilman Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Parish of St. Charles in recognition. Whereas the town of Norco was founded in 1934 by the post office on land once part of the Good Hope Plantation and called Sellers after landowner Colonel Tom Sellers. And whereas the community's industrial history began when the New Orleans Refining Company established a marine petroleum supply terminal and later a refinery on the land. And whereas in 1925, the company acronym Norco was adopted as the town's new name and Shell took over the facility, deepening the industry-community relationship that continues to define Norco today. And whereas construction of the Bonacary Spillway, a 7,000-foot wide control system, began in 1929 and was completed in 1932, with President Franklin Roosevelt attending the dedication. And whereas Airline Highway, originally a two-lane highway, now designated as U.S. Highway 61, we'll get that fixed, was authorized by then Governor Huey P. Long in the 1930s as an alternate to River Road between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And whereas in 1997, the Norco Civic Association, NCA, organization was formed to provide the people of Norco a unified voice to address concerns of the community, focus on improving the town, parish, state, and the nation for the quality of life for the people. And whereas Sal DiGirolamo, Ronald St. Pierre, Gerald Sange, Alex H. Livingston, A.J. Buddy Chauvin, Nick DiGirolamo, Lynn Tony Louvier Sr., J.P. Paul Meir, and Fru Wagersbach made up the first NCA officers and the board of directors. Whereas the town of Norco will be celebrating its 100-year anniversary with a celebration on Saturday, October 4th, 2025 at the Norco Town Square with vendors, free food, free drinks, free snowballs, and pony rides. It is more than just a celebration. It's a chance to reflect on the past, embrace the present, and look forward to the future of Norco's tight-knit community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby recognize the town of Norco on the occasion of its 100-year anniversary. And I believe we have the Executive Board of the Norco Civic Association. Y'all would come on up.
Some of y'all go on the other side. One more.
Why don't y'all come over? Just so I can acknowledge them. You know, very few times do we get to acknowledge volunteers, and I want to go tell you who these people are. So before I say what I got to say, this is Stephen Simon, the Vice President of the Narco Civic Association, Pastor Daniel Collins and his wife Haley from First Baptist Church in Narco, Bruce Hotard, one of our directors for the Civic Association, and Mr. Bobby Donaldson. So I want to make sure I acknowledge y'all before you go anywhere. But you can stay up here with me. You're going to be doing it soon. I do want to say, first of all, Bob, that was damn good. Where did you write that? Where did you find all of that information? I've been looking for it. I do want to thank the council for acknowledging us and acknowledging our event that we're having on October 4th. And Parish President Jewell. This is something that we were not expecting last year, and then somebody brought it up. Hey, it's our 100th anniversary. I couldn't find all the information Bob has. I have to get that from you. But we do have an event, and luckily, you went back to Shell and Narco, New Orleans Refinery Company. That company is still supporting us heavily in what we do. They are our main sponsor, and they are helping a lot with this event. None of us have ever had to do this before. We had to do the Christmas parade, but this was a lot different. I found that out. And it is a block party, essentially, beginning at 1 o'clock. We tried to keep everything free except for the vendors that wanted to come in, local vendors, so they can make a couple of dollars and sell their wares. We do have free food, free drinks, non-alcoholic drinks. You have to bring your own alcohol. But bring your seat, because the side B band is pretty good. We went to hear them, so the entertainment we have is very good. We have a lot of local vendors that'll be selling other foods, but we do have jambalaya, pastelaya, I believe, fried fish, and sodas free for everybody that comes along. We appreciate this. We're hoping. I know the Alligator Queen's praying for good weather. I heard Mr. Alligator said he had a connection when he received his proclamation. I think we have the same connection. I think that's who he was talking about, but we're going to pray for a beautiful day, and I think we'll have a huge crowd there. So thank you once again on behalf of it's the Narco 100 Celebration Committee. We want to thank all of you for everything you do for St. Charles Parish. Thank you.
All right, thank you. File number 2025-0273, Proclamation National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proclamation. Whereas, except for skin cancers, breast cancer is the most common type of cancer among women in the United States and is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths among American women. Whereas during the annual National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we recognize the progress being made towards a cure for this disease, which robs so many women of their health and in too many cases their lives. And whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, NBCAM, it educates women about the importance of early detection for breast cancer, and since their inception, mammography use has doubled and breast cancer death rates have declined, but many women still do not utilize mammograms at regular intervals. And whereas the National Cancer Institute estimates 316,950 American women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year, but millions of women are surviving the disease thanks in part to early detection and improvements in treatment. And whereas regular mammography screenings and monthly self-examinations remain the most effective ways of identifying breast cancer in its earliest and most treatable stages, long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt. And whereas to lower the chances of breast cancer, we must increase awareness of its risk factors and possible causes. And whereas research is one of our best weapons, and much of the funding for researching a cure for breast cancer is directed towards clinical trials dedicated to finding new and more effective ways of preventing, detecting, and treating breast cancer. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved, all women and their families in St. Charles Parish are urged to get the facts about breast cancer and mammography. Be it further resolved, on Thursday, October 9, 2025, St. Charles Parish will have a Paint the Parish Pink Day and urge all citizens to show their support for all those who have been affected by cancer by commemorating this day by wearing the color pink. And we have Jared Fuselier and Celeste Stein in the room.
Hey, Council, Mr. President, thank you for having us here tonight. Celeste is one of our mammography technicians that works in the facility, so really happy to hear. Thank you for allowing us to bring recognition to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You know, 1 in 8 women are affected by breast cancer in this country. Last year, or this year, just at our facilities, we performed over 4,000 mammograms, which is wonderful because we know that early detection really leads to almost a 90% survival rate, no matter what stage of cancer that is detected at. And with a mammogram, you actually have you can find cancer 2 years sooner with a mammogram as opposed to just a regular breast exam. So we really want to take that time to thank you for that. Help us paint the parish pink. And Celeste, anything you want to say?
We'd just like to thank you for your continued support for the month of October. And as we say, early detection is the best detection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. File number 2025-0274, Proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Proclamation. Whereas all people have the right to live in a safe, accepting, and peaceful environment. And whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, and income levels. It consists of psychological, physical, sexual, and emotional abuse to gain and maintain power and control. And whereas we believe that all people thrive more fully in an atmosphere free of fear and violence. However, there exists in our society a system of power, control, and domination which suppresses these rights and perpetrates violence without regard to age, gender, race, and religion. And whereas Metro Centers for Community Advocacy, Metro, and a Safe Space of St. Charles, Domestic Violence Advocacy and Support Program, are nonprofit organizations that provide free and confidential services to women, children, teens, and male survivors in the areas of St. Charles, St. John, and St. James parishes. And whereas these organizations help to enable families to regain their physical and emotional strength with the goal to provide assistance to anyone seeking help, and this is accomplished through state, federal, and local grant monies, as well as tax-deductible monetary and material donations. And whereas St. Charles Parish commends Metro and a Safe Space of St. Charles for providing free and confidential services to survivors of trauma. For when survivors become stronger, the community is strengthened. To break the cycle of violence and aid survivors of domestic violence is the mission of both organizations and is accomplished through advocacy, intervention, empowerment, and transformation. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby, in accordance with the National Domestic Violence Organization guidelines, declare the month of October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved, we, the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby urge everyone to wear purple ribbons and plant a windmill garden in the month of October to show support to all victims of violence and to show support to all law enforcement officers, district attorneys, and judges who dedicate themselves to finding a solution to this growing problem. And we have Miss Eliza Eugene, Miss Shirley Sims, and Mr. Mark Medina and others here to accept.
Oh gosh, good evening. Thank you all so much for having us today. I have with me my board of directors, Mr. Redmond Cheney. I have our house manager, Miss Dion Daniels. I have our board member, Miss Wendy Benedetto. I have Miss Shirley Sims, who is our outgoing executive director. She is retiring after 17 years. And I also have Miss Amanda Fleming, who is also one of our board members. But I just want to say thank you to Parish President Jewell and to this council for the tremendous honor. We are deeply grateful to receive this proclamation regarding and recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This proclamation is more than just a piece of paper. It's a powerful symbol of our community collective commitment to ending domestic violence and supporting survivors. It signifies that our leaders understand the gravity of this issue and stand with us in this vital work. So thank you all very much.
File number 2025-0275, Proclamation, United Way Month in St. Charles Parish, Battle for the Paddle Cook-Off. Councilman DeBruyer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proclamation. Whereas the United Way of St. Charles was established in November of 1955 to unite the entire community in a system of volunteers, donors, and agencies for the purpose of improving the quality and quantity of human care services for the citizens of St. Charles Parish. And whereas the United Way of St. Charles serves as a critical link which unites all community participants to build a stronger, healthier, more compassionate St. Charles Parish. And whereas business, industry, government, and hundreds of volunteers come together each year in St. Charles Parish to participate in raising the needed financial resources through the annual United Way campaign. And whereas thousands in St. Charles Parish contribute financial resources that are used to improve the lives of tens of thousands of people by providing funding for basic and emergency needs, health and rehabilitation, financial stability, counseling, education, recreation, and youth and senior services. And whereas the St. Charles Parish Council and Parish President wish to join the great people of St. Charles Parish who care about continuing to improve the quality of life for all in our community by supporting the 2025 annual campaign of the United Way of St. Charles. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim Thursday, October 2nd, 2025 as a day of fun and festivities for all in St. Charles Parish, and proclaim the month of October 2025 as United Way of St. Charles Month. We urge all citizens in St. Charles Parish to attend the United Way of St. Charles annual Battle for the Paddle, a gumbo and jambalaya cook-off to be held October 2nd, 2025 from 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center, 274 Judge Edward Dufresne Parkway in Luling. Be it further resolved, the United Way flag shall fly on the grounds of the parish courthouse for this period as a constant reminder to the great citizens of our parish of this important cause. You have the power to change the world around you. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. And I believe John Diaz is here to accept this proclamation.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for your support and the proclamation. I'll be brief and just say that on behalf of the board and the volunteers of United Way, we are appreciative of not only the support for events like this, but the collaboration we have with parish government at every level, be it other special events like the Bridge Run, the parish government's own fundraising campaign. I'm going to go ahead and give it away, is going to break a record this year, which I think is fantastic. So we're very appreciative of that. And as was mentioned, Battle for the Paddle is a great day and just the greatest neighborhood party you'll ever find. I was reflecting when I got a call from the Herald Guide that they asked about attendance, and I realized that just the participants, just the teams cooking, we will have 1,000 people there before anybody sets foot through the gate to attend. So as of this morning, we had a record about 250 teams, which is up from last year by about 25, and we're not done yet. So thank you all for everything you do for United Way, and as a resident of St. Charles Parish, everything you do to make the place that I live and work in better. So thank you.
File number 2025-0276, Proclamation, National 4-H Week. Councilman Cummerdale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas the St. Charles Parish Council is proud to honor the 4-H Youth Development Program of the LSU Ag Cooperative Extension Service of providing experience-based education to youth throughout the state, and whereas through advisory councils, the 4-H Youth Development Program addresses genuine youth development needs to develop a sense of belonging, independence, mastery, and generosity among the St. Charles Parish students by providing experimental learning opportunities, especially in the areas of civic engagement, healthy living, and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And whereas it's more than 117,000 urban, suburban, and rural youth participants, ranging in age from 8 to 19, hail from diverse ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds, and truly represent a cross-section of state. Whereas the program undoubtedly could not have achieved the success that it has done today were it not for the service of its more than 13,000 volunteers who have given generously of their time, talents, energies, and resources to the youth of Louisiana. Whereas throughout its proud history, the 4-H program has developed positive role models for countless citizens through its innovative and inspiring programs, continues to build character, and instill values that have made our state strong and great. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President hereby proclaim the week of October 5th through 11th, 2025 as National 4-H Week in St. Charles Parish, and commend the 4-H Youth Development Program of LSU Ag Center Cooperative Extension Service and the many men and women who have made the program a success. And Dr. Callie Zamet and some 4-H students will be receiving a proclamation.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the 4-H program and our LSU Ag Center in St. Charles Parish, I would first and foremost like to say thank you for your continued support of 4-H and the LSU Ag Center. This year, National 4-H has launched our Beyond Ready campaign. What does that mean? Through our 4-H Youth Development Program, we are preparing youth to be beyond ready for work, and beyond ready for life through career exploration and life skills development. So that's a big push this year is to provide experiential learning for our kids to be beyond ready. Now and throughout National 4-H Week, we are in the process of recruiting and enrolling our 4-H youth throughout the schools and our community project clubs. To date, we do have several 4-H community project clubs in addition to our school clubs. Some of those include our Cloverbud Club is for kindergarten to 3rd grade, so they learn those basic life skills. Our Chef Club stands for Cooking, Healthy Eating, and Fitness. So they meet once a month for about 2 hours to learn about healthy eating and healthy living, not only for food and nutrition, but also stress management and overall total wellness. We have a fashion club for 4th to 12th grade. Our shooting sports program is for ages 10 to 19. We have a homeschool community club, and we also, I'm proud to have some of our junior leader club officers with us here tonight. That is our 7th to 12th grade students who are invited to be our youth leaders. So hopefully one day they'll be taking some of your spots right here. They actually are going to be volunteering. They're our youth leaders, and they're going to be volunteering at some of the events you heard here tonight, such as our Battle for the Paddle. So we look forward to seeing you all there. I'd like to introduce our junior leader officers. We have Ethan Bellinger, our president. He's from Hawnville High School. Our vice president, Mackenzie Bellinger from Hawnville High. Our secretary and treasurer, Claire Aldridge from Hawnville. And don't worry, I have someone from the East Bank as well. Our reporter, Madison Landry from Harryhurst Middle. And today, as leaders, they will lead us in the 4-H pledge today, and we'll have our president do that with us.
I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health for better living. For my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Thank you all, and also for being role models for our youth. I bring them here tonight for them to see what they can do in the future, and I thank you all for being that role model and good example for our youth. We did pass around our monthly newsletters. We give this to all of our 4-H club members for opportunities for them to be our leaders in our community, not only in our community, but throughout our region, state, and on the national level as well. So I hope you all enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Callie. File number 2025-0277, Proclamation, Fire Prevention Week. Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. A proclamation. Whereas St. Charles Parish is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our parish. And whereas fire remains a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and the presence of lithium-ion batteries in many household devices introduces unique fire risks. And whereas most of our electronics used in homes daily, including smartphones, tablets, laptops, power tools, e-bikes, e-scooters, and toys, are powered by lithium-ion batteries, which, if misused, damaged, or improperly charged, can overheat, start a fire, or explode. And whereas the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, reports an increase in battery-related fires, underscoring the need for public education on the safe use of lithium-ion batteries. And whereas residents should follow 3 key calls to action: buy only listed products, charge batteries safely, and recycle them responsibly to prevent battery-related fires. And whereas lithium-ion batteries store a large amount of energy in a small space, and improper use, such as overcharging, using off-brand chargers without safety certification, or exposing batteries to damage can result in fire or explosion. And whereas the proper disposal and recycling of lithium-ion batteries help prevent environmental hazards and reduce risks in home and the community. And whereas St. Charles Parish first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of fires through prevention, safety education, and community outreach. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme is Charge into Fire Safety. Lithium-ion batteries in your home serves to remind us of the importance of using, charging, and recycling lithium-ion batteries safely to reduce the risk of fires in the home and communities. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim October 5th through the 11th, 2025, as Fire Prevention Week in St. Charles Parish, and urge all citizens to buy only listed products, charge devices safely, and recycle batteries responsibly. Here to accept this proclamation is Chief Barry Minnick.
Thank you. Council, Parish President, on behalf of the Fire Association and the entire fire service in St. Charles, thank you for this recognition for safety. Lithium-ion batteries are connected with just about everything we do in life today, and it's just getting larger and larger. Most of what I wanted to say is in the proclamation, but I just want to stress that every day something else is developed and built that is powered by lithium ions. It's not just cell phones, devices like that. It's electric blowers, electric lawnmowers, everything with a battery. So what I want to stress tonight for those listening is if you have a device that appears to be overheating, is damaged, if you need to charge it with the proper device, charging device, not something you get particularly anywhere that's selling anything. It's got to be basically the charging device for the particular device you're using. These things overheat, then they begin to smoke, then they explode. And the explosion temperature is anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 degrees. We've had, in the area I protect, 3 losses in the last couple of years. One was caused by a cell phone being charged. One was a scooter that was in the garage. And the other one that we didn't mention here, but was a breast pump that was on a countertop. Everybody left and had significant damage to the house. So we just and recycle these batteries. A lot of the garbage truck fires are from not disposing batteries properly. They get in there, they get damaged, and then they take off at 3,000 degrees and set the truck on fire. So just keep that in mind. Thank you very much. We'll be visiting the schools and multiple civic organizations during the month of October to get the word out. So if you have any questions or need any material or want to look at any material, just get a hold of me or someone else you know that's in the service. But we appreciate the recognition. Thank you.
Okay, file number 2025-0282, a resolution giving preliminary approval to the issuance of not exceeding $4 million of limited tax bonds Ark of the Parish of St. Charles, State of Louisiana, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Akers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jason Akers with Foley and Udell. Council members, with me, Coy Landry with the Ark of St. Charles. In October of 2023, the voters in the parish approved the continuation of a 0.66 mil tax that was being levied by the parish on behalf of the Ark. That tax was for constructing facilities associated with the Ark of St. Charles. And the Ark actually has a plan to rehab and rehabilitate and construct several of its facilities on its existing property. And so they asked the parish to facilitate a borrowing so they would have the funds available to do that. That borrowing would be paid solely out of that ad valorem tax that's being levied beginning next year. It does not require the parish to put forward any other funds. If for some reason the ad valorem tax proceeds don't materialize for any reason, that's a bondholder risk, not a parish risk. You don't have to put, even though the borrowing is in the name of the parish, you don't have to put forward any additional funds to pay debt service if for some reason that tax doesn't materialize. That said, the tax has more than 3 times coverage, so you'd have to lose 66% of the assessed value of the parish of St. Charles before that would actually be an issue. So we are asking your permission tonight for preliminary approval to allow us to move forward to make application to the State Bond Commission. So we'll come back to you with a sale and bond resolution at a later date that would have all the terms in there. We'll be working with the administration and with the finance department to ensure that as those proceeds of the tax come in, the first amount to pay debt service gets set aside and actually used to pay debt service before any other funds are used for the programs and facilities for the Ark. I'm happy to answer any questions I can about the bonds. If you have questions about the projects, I'm going to turn it over to people who know a lot more than I do about that. But thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Akers. File number 2025-0282 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Councilwoman Skiba.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I sit on the board for the Ark, and I know that they want to use this to, improve the facilities for the individuals. And y'all know that the individuals have come here and addressed us as the council, and there is a great need for this at the Ark. So I do ask for your support.
All right. Any other council discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0282. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. File number 2025-0280. The Parish Council will sit as the local board of review for the 2025 assessment at its regular meeting on October 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers in the courthouse. This is only an announcement. Reports, finance, and administrative activities. File number 2025-0281. Parish President Remarks Report. Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We get started tonight with my presentation by talking about some of the preliminary work going on with the CN Jack and Moore project. The work on utility lines to prepare the site for the Jack and Moore project is underway. The Jack and Moore method places new underground pipes with minimal surface disruption, and this is going to help water flow more freely to the south, from the south side of the railroad tracks to the north side where the Destrehan 2 pump station is located. Construction is currently underway. This is some of the preliminary work that is being done for the construction. You can see them in the photo doing what they call potholing, which is basically using a pressure washer to cut away dirt and a vacuum truck to suck up that dirt so that they can get down physically and see the utilities and potential conflicts that there are and take measurements of their locations and whatnot. So very important work, preliminary work that's going on. I've told several folks that this is going to be a long and tedious process that will take place for this project to get done. and it has to be due to the sensitive nature of where they are working. We are going to be meeting with residents who were sent a invitation tomorrow evening, a little bit of a town hall to discuss what the project's going to look like, any potential disruptions, and we will talk it through with them. We'll have the engineer who designed the project there, as well as a representative from the contractor who will talk about just the process of what it's going to look like, the disruptions, and most importantly, the time it's going to take to get done. Okay. Ashton Boulevard. It's going to be closed on Wednesday, September 24th, as Union Pacific makes repairs to the crossing. So during the closure, the traffic in the affected lane will not be able to cross the railroad track at Ashton Plantation. So you can see they're going to close one side at a time. Blue from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's going to be heading into Ashton, and then 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. to noon is on the outbound side of the crossing. So it's going to be there's going to be a lot of traffic flowing in there. We will have the gate at Hackberry Street open all day to allow for people to get in and out, and we're hoping that weather will cooperate and we can get this project done working with Union Pacific. And we want to say thank you to them for finally getting around to addressing it, and we have a few more for them to do across the parish. All right, the 2025 Alligator Festival preparation is underway. If you've passed by the West Bank Bridge Park, you've already seen that rides have started to show up. This is the Rotary Club's biggest fundraiser for their scholarship program, and the parish, through our Parks and Recreation and Public Works crews, are going to be working to help make sure that the site is safe for not only people coming to the festival, but people who are just passing through that area. The Ashton Plantation soccer field and parking lot. There are several brand new fields at the Ashton Plantation Soccer Complex, along with a brand new parking lot to hold the additional capacity of people who are going to be there on the weekends. And we've already seen just a massive amount of people going there. It's great to have soccer in a single location, and want to say thank you to the council who helped us approve the needed work to get this done, especially that joint use agreement with DOTD. We did get all the wrap, the crushed asphalt material from DOTD. That was a significant cost savings to the parish. So we appreciate the council, the Recreation Department, and the Public Works Department for helping us put all of that together. With that, at the very end of September, we will no longer cut JB and RJVL in the school system because we'll no longer be using those fields. That is going to be a significant win for Parks and Recreation. It does take us a couple of days out of the week, and during the summer when you're trying to keep it cut for soccer, that's each week. So we will be able to get those employees back into our parks and working on the important things that need to be done at our parish-owned parks. And we appreciate the school system for working very closely with us on our agreement that allows us the flexibility to do this. The King Cat Fishing Rodeo was just this past weekend, where there were 95 participants from 37 teams. And just to put that in perspective, last year there were 82 participants. So it is growing. We continue to hear that the biggest catfish they catch are in St. Charles Parish, and we're excited about that. The biggest catfish of the weekend was 72.6 pounds. And the team that won the total weight had 224.19 pounds of catfish. Very exciting. The King Cat folks want to make this one of their championship locations just because of how great the fishing is over here. And so they are committed to working towards that. And hopefully this is going to be the biggest one that they have in the state, or across the nation, because this tournament does tour the nation. I want to just say thank you to Parks and Recreation for helping this run smoothly, and also to the River Parish Tourist Commission for the work that they do helping with this event. Okay, EOC hosted a hazardous materials training. Over 80 first responders from 4 parishes, the state and local military trained in a hazmat response. And that was thanks to a partnership between the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, Grammar Logistics, and CF Industries. The training focused on accident response involving anhydrous ammonia with hands-on experience using a specialized training truck from Indiana for this event. St. Charles Parish Employee Battle for the Paddle is coming up. We had the Battle for the Paddle. We want to say congratulations to the winning teams from our internal Battle for the Paddle. You can catch their gumbo, jambalaya, pastelaia dishes at the annual United Way of St. Charles Battle for the Paddle on October 2nd. That's a Thursday, and it's going to be from 3 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. Always a great time. Again, congratulations to our employees who participated and are going on to compete at the True Battle for the Paddle on October 2nd. Now I want to take the opportunity to turn my report over to some special guests that we have today with Restore the Earth. We have Executive Director Taylor Marshall, who is with Restore the Earth, Gabe Griffin with Louisiana Wildlife Fisheries, and Corey Gavin, which is with Eco Restore, who is our implementation partner with Restore the Earth, just for them to talk about the work that they've been doing over the last, not only over the last 20 years, but over the last few years in St. Charles Parish, where they've planted a significant number of cypress trees. So, Taylor, welcome, and we're all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today. I am Taylor Marshall, Executive Director of Restore the Earth. I did bring a gang, but they're sitting back there. They might come up in a minute. We have a video for y'all to just introduce ourselves and talk about our work in St. Charles Parish, but we're a nonprofit organization dedicated to large-scale reforestation and restoration projects. We've been on the Gulf Coast for 20 years, and a lot of those projects have been in Louisiana. We have a special relationship and partnership with Wildlife and Fisheries that allows us to do large projects on state land. And one of those projects is right here in St. Charles Parish. It's our largest to date. 28,800 acres were restored of native bald cypress. So I'll show you the video, which covers a lot of that information, but we just haven't had a chance to properly introduce ourselves and make folks more aware of our work. And so we are here to just create a little more public awareness to what's going on in their backyard, but also in hopes that as they recreate and enjoy the benefits on these WMAs, that they also understand what's been planted there and the efforts that it's taken to restore some of these ecosystems. So.
Restore the Earth has been working along the Gulf Coast for 20 years, restoring critical coastal ecosystems. What started as a response to Hurricanes Katrina and Rita became an organizational mission to restore the Earth's essential ecosystems, starting right here in the Gulf. Partnering in 2010 with the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, Restore the Earth deployed the first restoration on the oiled wetlands of the Governor's Hole in response to the 2010 BP oil spill. From this first project, a 20-year journey has spurred over 150,000 acres along the Gulf Coast that have been replanted, restoring and protecting critical coastal areas and communities with native reforestation. What began as an initial disaster response project launched a 15-year partnership with the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, which continues today. The partnership has resulted in thousands of acres of reforestation on state wildlife management areas throughout Louisiana, and a multitude of benefits to the ecosystems so important to our sportsman's paradise. Restore the Earth recently completed a landmark restoration of 28,800 acres in the last 2 years, planting over 6 million native bald cypress trees, making it the largest project of its kind on the Gulf Coast. 18,800 acres of this restoration went right into the ground here in St. Charles Parish. This project will enhance coastal wetland and watershed systems by reestablishing a critical bald cypress forest. Once reestablished, a healthy forested wetland becomes more effective in protecting local communities from risks associated with storm surge and flood events. We know that this reforestation will also benefit the native wildlife and fisheries, improve water quality, expand recreational activities, trap carbon dioxide, and provide community protection and resilience from future storms. As with any large project that deals with Mother Nature, there are setbacks along the way. In Louisiana, a reforestation project must mitigate certain risks when species like hogs and nutria can destroy vegetation. Recently, a portion of the reforestation project at Salvador WMA experienced damage from a fire that started on a neighboring property to the management area. This incident has resulted in the destruction of many acres and the loss of significant investment meant to restore and protect our land. We are working closely with the property owners near the management area and hoping to create awareness in the larger community that these reforestation projects exist and are worth protecting and preventing future harm. We've met with local governing bodies, St. Charles Parish, and the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries in creating a coalition of land stewards. We encourage all of St. Charles Parish to take part in the restoration by spreading the news about these projects and their goal to sustain our way of life so that we can thrive for generations in Louisiana.
And you might have seen Mike make a cameo in that video. He came out and planted with us one day and did a tour. And so I have Gabe Giffen here with me. He's representing the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Foundation, which we also work with, as well as Corey Gavin with Eco Restore, who's responsible for getting the teams out there doing the large planting, which in this case took, I think, 4 months, 5 months? 4 months. And also responsible for the nursery coordination and tree growing. But what instigated us coming to introduce ourselves is we realized there wasn't enough awareness with the public, with the parish about this project. And unfortunately, there was some losses due to a neighboring fire. So we are making an effort to do a little bit more public outreach. We're hoping that we can work with y'all to maybe do some signage within the WMA. For fines if there's fires. And we're talking to the parish and enforcement about that, as well as wildlife and fisheries. But we're really excited about this project, want to keep doing projects like these. So just wanted to introduce ourselves and make you aware of the work we've been doing. And happy to answer any questions as well.
Thank you. Councilman Pillier.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious, aside from fires, what kind of survival rate do you think percentage-wise you have in these plantings of cypress trees?
At this project, if you don't include the fire, if it's just regular issues, 93% is what we've seen at Salvador.
Thank you.
First President Jewell.
So I know we kind of touched on the fire, and I want to say thank you for coming to meet with us last week. And we have met with Restore the Earth. We've met with St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office and the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. Because I wanted you to talk a little bit more about the actual number of cypress trees that were destroyed in those two subsequent fires out of the 6 million.
So there were 3 different fires, all kind of originating from the same issue, which is hunters and rabbits trying to get them. And obviously, they didn't know the tree planting was there. That wasn't the intent, but it just kind of got out of control. But we've lost a couple thousand acres. And unfortunately, due to our financial partners, I don't know the full final amount of loss, but some millions of investment. And that's public and private. So we are working to restore some of that acreage that was lost as part of our agreement with those who helped funded this project. But also, it's just, we thought the nutrient hogs were our biggest problem, and you can hunt those and deal with those, but just dealing with errant fires that get out of control.
But you mentioned the number of, you talked about the financial investment, which you know is in the millions. How many trees and that you think were harmed by the fire, that were killed?
Yeah, 1.2 million.
So 1.2 million trees on the WMA that were planted out of the 6 million. Is that correct? Were killed by those fires. So we're doing this to help raise awareness. Obviously, I don't think anybody else, like you said, went out there to say, hey, let's go burn all these trees down. They lit a fire that started on private property close to the WMA, and due to the wind direction and the existing conditions, went well into the WMA and caused a significant amount of damage. And it really is a shame. So we're going to be working closely with the sheriff's office when these fires go up to have them go out there and make sure that that they are on private property, and if they do go into the WMA, that there will be resulting penalties and fines for those folks, because it is illegal to burn the WMA. Maybe some folks don't know that, but it is.
Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You made some oblique references to your funding partners. Could you give us some examples of who your partners are, or is that private information?
Well, it's private in the sense that we haven't discussed that we were presenting here today, but companies you all know and love and are located in Louisiana, large corporations, that would not surprise you, who love to invest in these types of projects. So unfortunately, before here, I didn't reach out to them
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I looked you up on the internet because of the presentation was provided. Just
you can find
introduction
most of the information.
And I said, is this something having to do with maybe carbon credit projects or at all, or just goodwill?
Some of them are, yes, and some are also goodwill. It's a mix of financial and reasons, and also a number of them being located here have employees and customers that live and work here and really understand the importance of protecting and restoring the land and protecting the coast. So they see it as a way to really give back to the community. And there was a slide or a mention there of generating not just, the ecosystem benefits, but quality of life improvement, water. Actually, this project is the first water quality credit project for the state of Louisiana under LDEQ's water quality trading program. And that's an annual credit value every year that goes to the funders who have impacts in the watershed, and LDEQ gives them an opportunity to improve their footprint in that respect. So this is a first, and we have some information on that. So it's usually a variety of reasons that people or companies invest, but there have been some for carbon, yes.
All right, thank you so much.
No worries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing on Monday, October 6, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the courthouse in Hornville. File number 2025-0286, file number 2025-0287, 2025-0288, 2025-0289, 2025-0284, 2025-0203, 2025-0291, 2025-0293, 2025-0296, 2025-0297, 2025-0298, and 2025-0299. Ordinance introduced for publication, public hearing for Tuesday, October 28, 2025 at 9 a.m., Thursday, October 30th, 2025 at 1 p.m., and Monday, November 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers in the courthouse in Hornville. File number 2025-0161, an ordinance to approve and adopt the appropriation of funds for the St. Charles Parish Consolidated Operating and Capital Budget for the fiscal year of 2026. Ordinance is scheduled for public hearing introduced at the previous meeting. File number 2025-0259, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a professional service agreement with Wagoner Engineering, Inc. to perform engineering services for the East Bank A and B plant demolition, project number WWKS 116, in the lump sum amount of $213,023. Mr. Gordon.
Good evening, members of the council. Parish President Jewell. So this is a contract with Wagoner Engineering to provide engineering services, develop plans and specifications to demolish infrastructure associated with the treatment trains of the East Bank A and B plants. The engineering services will also include design of an additional distribution pump and associated infrastructure. So if you've ever been to the East Bank plant, there are some very old-looking plants, A and B, in the very front. It has been a long-term capital project to have them demolished. So we do have to do some design of that. It is kind of intertwined with the rest of the water system on the plant site. So we have to be kind of careful about the way that it would be demolished and the steps it'll take. Also, there is a distribution pump associated with the old A and B plants that we are going to have to put in a brand new one when we finally demolish all that. I'm here to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. File number 2025-0259 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gordon, with this demoralization and moving the things around, did we look at placing that second generator, that backup generator? Is that going to be kind of?
No. So are you talking about the temporary one or the brand new ones we hope to do one day?
Put backup generators.
No, they won't affect the generators there at all. No, and the temporary ones. And we are still working with the grants department to get hazard mitigation grant funding for brand new generators at both the East and West Bank plants. So no, it won't be part of that.
Just thinking, there's an opportunity with all of that demo. Maybe you could fit it in with the opportunity of all this demo, possibly
put it there instead. We possibly could. Now we do actually already have design plans to have it placed in another spot, kind of near the existing generators, just because of all the electrical going to that spot. So, if and when, for example, the HNGP stuff takes a little longer and that gets demolished, we can look at that too.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0259. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0262, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the Lakewood Drive reconstruction, project number P110201, state project number H.014051, federal aid project number H.014051, to decrease the contract amount by $622,252.34, resulting in a revised contract amount of $5,357,339.29. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a project that was bid by the DOTD for the parish. The parish signed the contract, so we own the contract. We had a very successful project. It went very well. We also had that we were talking with the DOTD about doing the signal at US 90 and Lakewood and Barton, and they decided they wanted to do that separately. The project held on for a little while. This is us closing out that contract, since the contract is ours, and doing the final change order. And we would appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0262 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0262. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0267, an ordinance to revoke and abandon the drainage right-of-way along Davis Plantation granted by J.B. Levere Land Company, Inc. to St. Charles Parish on November 6, 1998. Mr. Wu.
Yes, thank you. This ordinance is for an act of revocation of a specific piece of property adjacent to Airline Highway, and IMTT has already donated other drainage servitudes and recently as August of this year. And in return, St. Charles Parish is requesting a revocation of this drainage aspects. There is a map attached to the act of revocation, which of course is difficult to understand. So I did bring a copy if any council members need it. But basically, along Airline Highway, the drainage that runs, Highway 90. I'm sorry, Highway 90. The drainage that runs at that point actually goes under Highway 90. So the remaining area that was a right-of-way that was given to the parish in 1998 is no longer needed. In return, St. Charles Parish did get a portion in August of this year that's parallel to Evelyn Drive and the railroad tracks, which allows for additional and much better drainage along Evelyn Drive. So I do have a copy of the map showing what is being requested to be revoked, what is being given, and what still remains the same if anyone needs it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wu. File number 2025-0267 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0267. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0268, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with Anders Construction, Inc. for the raw water intake structure access bridge pile replacement project number WWKS 112 in the amount of $201,670. Mr. Gordon.
Thank you, members of the council. This is ostensibly 8 new bridge pilings that will be constructed for the West Bank intake, raw water intake. The current pilings are pretty old and they need maintenance and they do in replacement. So that's what we will be doing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gordon. File number 2025-0268 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
on the West Bank, is the water intake structure at risk as was the East Bank during Ida? And if so, can we do anything to help fortify that?
So, no, not as much. It's not as exposed as the East Bank one is. Furthermore, there was when I first was appointed, there was an existing project where the intake was extended out into the river, and when they did that, they put in new dolphins to protect it, and that was part of that project.
Thank you.
All right, any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0268. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0269, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with Digital Engineering and Imaging, Inc. to perform engineering services for road maintenance manuals 2026. Project number P250703, and the not to exceed amount of $124,104.24. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is our annual contract that we do with Digital Engineering for the road manuals. They go out and assess all of our roads. And this year, we're also going to do something a little bit different that we haven't had in our previous ones. We are also going to assess our railroad crossings so that we can actually get a statement of what our condition of our railroad crossings. And there are a couple elements to that as well. One is our approaches, which we can work with the railroads and actually smooth out the approaches, and the second part of that is actually their physical crossing. So we think we're going to add some value this year in doing this, but this is also something that we've done routinely every couple of years, and we look forward to doing it, getting our assessment this time, and we'd appreciate your support.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0269 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bingham, what you just said about railroad crossings is encouraging like nothing I've heard us say before. There are numerous places along the parish that this just needs to happen, and one of them's right near my house. So I hope to hear from you pretty soon once we get this going. Thank you.
Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just want to echo what Mr. P.A. said. Miles, great thinking on your behalf and your team's behalf to add that to this, because I'll tell you, I talked to the government affairs folks for all the different railroads in St. Charles Parish. They hear from people like me and council members all across the country. And a lot of them have these really big regions. It's one thing for us to call and say, man, this is in bad shape. You need to come fix this. We're sick of this. It's another thing to say, hey, we have a verifiable, certified engineering report that this is unsafe. And we're putting you on notice now that it's unsafe. I think that's going to give us a little bit more credibility when we call and say, hey, look, something's up, and it's not going to be good if something happens. So, Miles, appreciate you, and appreciate the council's support on this.
Thank you, Parish President Jewell. Miles, I love this idea. I hope there's pictures to go with it. And
it will be in the report with pictures noted by the railroad, the way the railroad actually calls out their crossings.
Excellent.
So it'll be their assessment. So we have this underhand, and I think it's going to be a real value to the parish.
Well, maybe we'll get quicker action when we notice an issue. Thank you. All right. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0269. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0270, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of amendment number 2 to ordinance number 21-8-16, which approved the professional services agreement with Duplantis Design Group, DDG, to perform additional engineering services for the Zalman's Boat Launch project number P210705 to include construction administration and inspection for the construction of the actual boat launch, increasing the contract by $394,440.19 for an overall value of $1,004,796.19. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just so people know, tomorrow we are bidding. The bids will be received for this project. So we are looking very much forward to getting this project underway. What we have here is the construction services for the engineer, their resident inspector, their engineers for doing this project. It's about a year-long project that we're looking at, and I would appreciate your support for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0270 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Miles, I saw you looking at me when you were saying that. I did have a little bit of heartburn over this amount. It just seems to me excessive for a year-long project, but it is a not-to-exceed amount, so I'm comfortable with that, but it just does seem like a lot of money for a year-long project. All right, any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0270. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0271, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with GIS Engineering LLC to perform engineering services for the Turtle Pond Pump Station and upstream drainage improvements, project number P250901, in the amount not to exceed amount of $609,085.50. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are in Council District 4, where we have done a lot of work getting ready to do these pump stations in that area. They have a fair amount of Council District 5, that they have had a lot of flooding issues in these areas, and the pump stations need to be upgraded. We've got money coming in on grants to help with some of these projects, and they've also helped us identify some of the upstream and downstream improvements that need to be done with these projects to make them even more effective. So this is a total package for the project, and we would greatly appreciate the council's support for this, because the people in this area really need it.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0271 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bingham, something just caught my eye today when I was reading over this. In the attachment A, which is the scope of work, you have 2 major sections. One is the project scope, and then goes on to determine what that is. but you have the pump station improvements, and then you have the upstream drainage improvements. It's something just jumped out at me. The second paragraph, it says, upon determination, this is under the pump station improvements. Upon determination of a proper layout, consultant shall complete full design and bidding documents for said selection. Then the next sentence says, full design, bidding, and construction administration, as well as resident inspection fees will be added later date via amendment to this agreement. However, if you read on to the upstream drainage improvements, kind of the same thing was said. Consultants shall complete full design and bidding documents for all upstream drainage improvements as listed in reference on the map below. Does that mean that some of this part one basic design, like preliminary design, final design, bid phase, construction phase, and such, would be performed during this first exercise here?
For which services are you talking about? The phase, the second one, or the first, the pump station, or the
upstream drainage improvements, of which you've got 11 items.
Yeah, the upstream drainage improvements are better defined at this point because of what was the analysis that was done through the state. The pump station is being relocated, and there's going to be more work that's going to.
We also have Kyle Galloway with GIS here to help answer any questions.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is
after,
the upstream.
Mr. Bingham finished speaking. Excuse me, Mr. Tillier. Please press your button if you'd like to speak. Thank you.
Do you want me to finish?
Can I talk?
Got it.
Can I ask a question? So my point was upstream drainage improvements. There's more scope here that's defined. Will we be doing full design and bidding documents as part of this particular scope of work? That's really what I'm trying to clarify, as
Yes,
opposed to the pump station.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now Parish President Jewell, you may speak.
So just wanted to say on this project, this is one of the ones we've worked with the LWI folks. We had the Fairfield and Oakland project where we were going to do the pump station project, and then I know we gave an update to the councilwoman at the last meeting where we have to actually now, based off of the micro study that was done in the area. Remember, we did a macro study on size of pump station, size of channels, conveyance, all this other stuff. The micro study came in and zoomed in and said, hey, you actually have to do these other projects first because the downstream can't take the water of the new pump station that the macro says you need to build. And so the micro is saying, we don't disagree with what the macro is saying or as far as size of pump station, but we're just saying for us to receive it, you got to do these improvements. Similar to this project, and I wanted to mention this, they're actually requesting that we relocate this pump station entirely and move it, I don't know, Miles, how, like 200 yards north, 500 yards north?
Yeah, we're moving it to a whole new site so that we can actually build a proper sump, and it's in a better location for us, and the DOTD is working with us on that location as well. So it's going to be better for us in the long run, and we can discharge out of the way of everything else and not have to go through a channel to get away from things. So.
And just the reason I mentioned that is that it just kind of shows you the complexity of some of the projects that we're doing. But this is actually going to be an improvement because it's actually going to put more of the watershed under pump. And so that's a benefit to some of the folks who are also, in the area that may not be under pump right now. So we're excited to work with GIS and LWI to get it done. And we're working closely with DOTD. I know Mike has been working very closely with them to acquire the property that we need to be able to relocate the pump station. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Parish President Jewell. Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I tried to explain this, but I still am a little bit confused. When you made the presentation, you said this is the full package. And when you say the full package, you mean the full package for the site selection, period.
It's for the site selection and some of the preliminary design. When you design a pump station, one of the first things you have to do is figure out the configuration of the pump station, how it's going to sit on the property, how much sump it needs, how many pumps you need, and you do that in a preliminary basis, and then you move to the final design, which gives you all the details. And until you have that first basic design element, it's really hard for you to decide, figure out what the overall design package is going to be.
Well, that was my understanding as well. So I don't want the public or someone listening or later look back and think that this is it. This is basically the preliminary site selection,
That's
the
correct.
full package
But
of this.
the engineer is being assigned the overall thing. They're going to do the whole design. Eventually, they're just not being given the money to do the overall design right now. They're just getting to that conceptual phase, and with all the, so that we can determine what their design fees will be for the final package and the construction.
Right. So this is the preliminary to the total package. This is not
Yes.
the total package. This
Yes.
is the 600,000 for the preliminary portion, and then we have some later expenditures and time involved in the full package.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that's clear, because it kind of talks about it as if it's total, and then they start backing off of it in the scope, and that's what I understand. This is the beginning stages of this project.
For that part of it, yes.
Mhm.
For the upstream, we actually have more information on that due to the study that was done by LWI.
Mhm.
And those things are really very specific at this point, so we can do those ahead of the pump station.
Right. So you're pretty close with those, and this is just the pump station. It's a little further along.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Galloway, do you have anything you want to add before we go on to vote on this item?
Not unless there are any other questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0271. Mike. All right, and that passes unanimously. Resolutions. File number 2025-0283, a resolution supporting the Planning and Zoning Commission's approval of 2025-4-SPU, expanding automobile sales on a designated highway in C2 zoning on Lot 1A, OTAN subdivision, 16830 Highway 90 to Salmons, specifically waivers from Appendix A, Section 8, Items G4 and H5, as requested by Naboo Brothers, LLC. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This request is to approve waivers following the approval of a special use permit for the expansion of a used car sales lot in C2 zoning. The requested waivers are for stacked parking and off-street loading dimensions. The request complies with the other special permit use regulations. The department recommended approval with conditions, and the Planning Commission approved the request with those conditions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2025-0283 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Mike Naboo, 1104 Primrose, Bootsy. I think once we're allowed to use that side lot, the tenant will have a little more room to park the vehicles and leave them out of the street. And I think everyone's agreed to this, so hopefully you vote for it. Thank you. Any questions?
We'll do that during council discussion. All right. Any other persons wish to comment on this file? Please come up now and state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing no other, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Cummerdale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to refresh the council's memory on what this was, is Mr. Naboo's tenant has a car lot, and they were only utilizing half of the property on this location, which was causing a little bit of overflow of vehicles and had some neighbors complain. So hopefully by opening up this other portion of property, he can eliminate the neighborhood issue.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cummerdale. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0283. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0285. A resolution in support of the Planning and Zoning Commission approval of 2025-7-SPU for an accessory dwelling unit in an R1A zoning district, 17660 River Road in Mons, as requested by Tanya Bajaron. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This request is for a supporting resolution for an accessory dwelling unit. The request meets all of the special permit use criteria. The department recommended approval and the Planning Commission approved the request.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2025-0285 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Fisher?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has been in my district, and I have not received any opposed or in favor of it. So just to put that on the record.
Thank you, Councilman Fisher. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0285. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0290, resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the state of Louisiana and St. Charles Parish for funding to construct the West Bank Water Treatment Plant E-Plant Construction Project, Facility Planning and Control Project number 50-J45-25-02. Ms. Chesson.
Good evening. So the state's capital outlay program has another $3 million in funding for St. Charles Parish, and that's going to be applied towards the engineering of the West Bank Water Treatment Plant E project. And this resolution is for the parish to enter into an agreement with the state and to commit the 25% local match funds. If you have any questions, let me know.
Great, thank you. File number 2025-0290 is open for public comment now. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0290. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0292, a resolution to approve scope of work and budget revisions to complete flood improvements within the Turtle Pond watershed area in St. Rose, utilizing funding through the Louisiana Watershed Initiative. Ms. Chasson.
Yes. So earlier in 2024, the LWI had conditionally awarded the parish grant funds for the Turtle Pond pump station. And one of the conditions was that we had to satisfy the completion of a hydrology and hydraulic study. I think you guys mentioned it earlier in the meeting that the study identified some additional conveyance improvements that needed to be completed in addition to the pump station upgrade project. So this resolution is to approve the change in scope of work and also to commit the local funds that's going to accompany those improvements. So let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Chasson. File number 2025-0292 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As everyone knows, this is in my district, and we are excited that we finally have sorted through some of the details in order to get finally to the process to be able to work towards this grant and get this work done. And I appreciate your hard work with this, as well as the hard work of Public Works, who have been tediously going through this and trying to sort out the details. I'm very pleased with the details on the downstream. I think it's going to be a better product at the end, and I'm very excited to get started on this. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Daniels. All right, any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0292. And that passes unanimously.
Thank you. You have a good night.
Thank you. Appointments. File number 2025-0220, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Coastal Zone Advisory Committee as Member 1. Council will confirm the nomination to the St. Charles Parish Coastal Zone Advisory Committee to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of the term of Ms. Sarah Thigpen. It's a 2-year term to begin September 23rd, 2025, and expire September 23rd, 2027. The nominee is Dr. Mark A. Culp. Please cast your vote to confirm the appointment of Dr. Mark A. Culp to the St. Charles Parish Coastal Zone Advisory Committee as member number 1. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0235, a resolution appointing a member to the Industrial Development Board of the Parish of St. Charles. Council will confirm the nomination to the Industrial Development Board to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Jeffrey Lemoyne, Jr. It's a 6-year term to begin October 1st, 2025, and expire October 1st, 2031. The nominee is Mr. Samuel F. Elliott. Please cast your vote to confirm the appointment of Mr. Samuel F. Elliott to the Industrial Development Board of St. Charles Parish. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0236, a resolution appointing a member to the Industrial Development Board of the Parish of St. Charles. Council will confirm the nomination to the Industrial Development Board to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Zachary Zach Young. It's a 6-year term to begin October 1st, 2025, and expire October 1st, 2031. The nominee is Mr. Zachary Zach Young. Please cast your vote to confirm the appointment of Mr. Zachary Zach Young to the Industrial Development Board of the Parish of St. Charles. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0245, a resolution appointing a member to the Industrial Development Board of the Parish of St. Charles. Council will confirm the nomination to the Industrial Development Board to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of the term of Mr. Corey Fauché. The unexpired term to begin immediately and expire October 1st, 2027. The nominee is Mr. Patrick Beard. Please cast your vote to confirm the appointment of Mr. Patrick Beard to the Industrial Development Board of the Parish of St. Charles. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0261, a resolution appointing a member to the River Parishes Transit Authority. Council Chairman will accept nominations to the River Parishes Transit Authority to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of the term of Mr. Corey Fauché. Unexpired term to begin immediately and expire January 9th, 2028. The term is concurrent with the governing authority. Are there any nominations? Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to nominate Patrick Beard for this position.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Pillier. Councilman Pillier is nominating Mr. Patrick Beard. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing no other nominations at this time, per Rule 40, I've confirmed that all members have had the opportunity to submit an individual to be nominated. A motion and a second are needed to close nominations. We have a motion by Councilman Fisher, a second by Councilman Cumberdale. Please cast your votes to close nominations. And that passes unanimously. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings. The Housing Authority will meet Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. The Hospital Service District Number 1 will meet Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. The Food Basin Levy District will meet Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. The Food Basin Levy District Office, 21380 Highway 20 in Vacherie. St. Charles Parish Council will meet again on Monday, October 6th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Announcements. The Parish Council will be sitting as the Board of Review September 24th through October 8th, 2025. The 2025 assessment list. Written or oral protests must be received by the Parish Council office by September 29th, 2025 at 4 p.m. Public hearings to consider the proposed 2026 capital and consolidated operating budget will be held Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 at 9 a.m., Thursday, October 30th, 2025 at 1 p.m., and Monday, November 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. Adjournment. Motion and a second are needed to adjourn. We have a motion by Councilwoman Durouye, second by Councilwoman Skiba. Please cast your votes to adjourn. That passes unanimously. Have a great evening. We are officially adjourned.